Hey, what's up guys? I'm Dave Klein, and today I'm going to be going over my NES collection and ranking them on a tier list, which I know is falling into the classic YouTube trend thing, but honestly, I enjoy watching videos like this, so I thought it'd be fun to make one, and maybe it'd be fun to watch one. So if you do like this, let me know. If not, also let me know. If this goes well and people like it, I'll also go through all my other system collections, but I thought I'd start from the beginning. I have a couple Atari 2600 games, but they're more just for history, so I can't really rank them. So yeah, let's jump into this. Let's talk about it. Okay, so the first game, going alphabetically, that I have is Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout, which you can't see all that well, but I'll have gameplay playing up there. So this game actually is a game that my aunt gifted to me when I was younger. At some point, she gifted me all of her old NES games, just because they knew how much I loved video games. And just for clarity, I have an older brother, I have a younger brother, and my dad used to play NES games, so that's why this collection is pretty big. There's a lot of games I wish I had that I don't, because I used to go to Blockbuster every week and rent games, so there's a lot of games I played that I never had, or games I played at other friends' houses. But Bugs Bunny. I don't remember this game that well, but I do actually, I remember I actually enjoyed it. It was better than I thought it would be. I don't think it was fantastic, but you know what? And I've never been the biggest Looney Tunes fan, but it was surprisingly good for what it was. So the game's a platform style game. It's a little more basic than a lot of other platform games that came out, but it had this unique element where you would collect carrots and that would create platforms for yourself. And it actually works pretty well. There's some fun puzzles that I remember in the game from back when I did play it. I think, you know what, there's a lot of good games on here, and I'm kind of going to rank them amongst themselves. So just to set a bar here, I think I'm going to put this as a C. Again, it's actually pretty good. It's not bad, but just to kind of set a bar, like I said. All right, next on the list, we got Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel.
God, I love that intro. I'm not the biggest sports game fan, but I loved Blades of Steel. As far as sports games go, this was one of my favorites to play on the NES, especially with my brothers whenever one of them would play with me. But it was still fun to play single player by myself, and there were cool little mini games during the halftime show. And I especially love that you could get into hockey fights with each other. Honestly, half the time I was playing the game, I was just trying to get into a fight so I could just put someone in the penalty box. Because if you want to fight, that put the other person in the penalty box. So I don't think that's how hockey really works, but it was still great. So I'm going to put it as a B. It was a super solid sports game for sure. Next, we got Castlevania II, Simon's Quest. So I actually just recently got the box for this. I've been trying to start bolstering my box collection, but Castlevania 1 and Castlevania 3 are much better in my opinion. However, sadly, I don't own them. I actually bought just the cartridge of Castlevania 2 by itself for my super show on Castlevanias 1 through 3 I did years back. I played the games back renting them. I remember my cousin had it, and I used to play it over at his place when we'd get together for family things, especially the first one. I really loved the first one, and the music's just so good. It's definitely set the standard for good platform games on the NES, and was one of the first, at least the first Castlevania. But yeah, I never ended up buying them. I guess I didn't love them as much as other games, and I guess my family didn't either. But Castlevania 2 was the game where the term Metroidvania comes from. And, a lot of people think of Castlevania Symphony of the Night as the Metroidvania game, but really it started here with Castlevania 2. I think Metroid came out first. I'm pretty positive, and this takes inspiration from that and kind of merges the two. It's definitely easier than Castlevania 1 and 3. It's honestly, it's not bad. It's just way too confusing. The puzzles don't make any sense, and apparently a lot of that has to do with the translation of the game. The translation wasn't very good. I remember I replayed it recently for my Super Show, and I was like, man, I'm actually having fun playing the game, except for not knowing what the fuck to do. But you know what? It's better than I remembered. It's not terrible. It's just not as good as the other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one also a B. So Simon's Quest. Next one on the list is Cocoron. So this is a game that is by the actual creator of Mega Man, Akira Kitamura, even though there's this common misconception that it's Keiji Inafune. In fact, I made an entire video on it called Who Made Mega Man to talk about that was actually Akira Kitamura who created Mega Man. After Mega Man 2, though, he decided to leave and pursue his own projects, and this was one of the games that he made. except I haven't played it. It's only on Famicom, and I bought it, or I got it. I think my roommate went to Japan. I asked him to pick it up for me, but I don't think I got it on my own trip to Japan. But yes, I haven't played it. It looks great, though. I really want to. I need to honestly just plug it in or emulate it. Haven't played. All right, next up we got DuckTales. So I know I have it as its own thing because it did originally come out as its own game. I have it as part of the Super Mario Brothers 1/Duck Hunt collection that came out. But yeah, Duck Hunt, it's a classic. It's not amazing. It's not bad, but yeah, it's fun for what it is. I'm sure there's better shooters out there on the NES. This was the one that I had that I played, but whatever. It's fun for what it is. I just wish there was more, I guess, more to it, but I'm still giving it a C. Sorry. So here we have one that I just picked up recently, DuckTales. I love DuckTales so much on the NES. I used to play it at a friend's place, and then I would rent it, but I never bought it. And the game is just one of the best examples of a fantastic platform game on the NES. The music, it's by Capcom. They started making Disney titles, and the Capcom Disney titles are all really fantastic from the NES and Super Nintendo. And DuckTales is just like king amongst them. It has this it has a really unique for the time pogo stick mechanic where Uncle Scrooge jumps on his cane like a pogo stick, and that's how you defeat enemies. And that's basically, if you like Shovel Knight, this is the game that they stole that mechanic from. Even though they claim it was Zelda 2, it's 100% DuckTales they took it from. The music's incredible. The graphics are pretty. For the NES, they look great. They still hold up. It's still charming, in my opinion, the way it looks. And the design is great. It's unique. It's fun. It's just, this to me is an S tier Super Nintendo game. So that's why I finally got it. So here we have one that I am proud to have in my collection, DuckTales 2. So I don't remember it that well, but I did rent it back in the day on the NES, and it was just as good as the original DuckTales. It might have been a little better or a little worse, but I don't remember at this point. But honestly, it was still fantastic. I don't remember the music being as memorable, but maybe it's because I only rented it. Otherwise, though, like, this was a great game. I wish I'd thought to buy it at the time. I have it on the Famicom because it's way cheaper on the Famicom. I love an NES version, but I think it's like $400 or $500 if you want a box version on the NES. The Famicom version is like $200, so at least a little bit cheaper. But I'm so glad I finally got this one. But since I can't remember if it holds up to DuckTales 1, I'm going to give it an A. Might be an S. But yeah, it's great. All right, next we got Fester's Quest. So Fester's Quest is a game that shouldn't be as good as it is. I think some people like this game a lot more than I do. I think it can get pretty frustrating at times, but it's an over-the-top shooting game in a way where you collect power-ups, you explore a city, and those power-ups make your guns better. And as you try to explore and go around the city, again, it has surprisingly good music for what it is. I actually use the theme song from it in a lot of my Super shows. It's pretty kicking, but I don't love it. I don't love it. It's good, but I don't love it. I think for me, this game... Oh, man, I'm bouncing between a B and a C. Yeah, I'm going to give it a B. Maybe that's too high. I don't know. YOLO. Next up, we got Gauntlet. So, I think this one... Gauntlet's got a fun history because it's by Tengen. And if you watch my History of the NES video, I talk a lot, or at least a little bit about Tengen and their battle with Nintendo, and they released a bunch of games. This is the actual official Nintendo game. You can tell by the color of the cartridge and the way it looks, but they try to have unlicensed games that they released, and Nintendo fought to the teeth with Tengen, which is really just Atari. But man, Gauntlet's good. It is a great game. It's not fantastic. It's a pretty bare bones, but it's NES. But when you're playing with a friend, unfortunately on the arcade it was 4 players, and on the NES you can only play with 2 people, and that's kind of its downfall. But it's got good music. It's a good overhead, just get through the levels, mash up things type of game. And again, a little basic for the NES, but for what it is, it's good. I'm gonna give it a B. I'm trying to save the A's and S's for games I really loved, but I definitely had a lot of fun playing with this game, especially with my brothers. and sometimes friends. All right, next up, I guess I'm going backwards in letters here because I've missed them. Whoops. We got Final Fantasy 1. I have it on the Famicom. I love the NES too, but I never owned it, but I did have a friend who had it, and I would go over to his house and we'd play it a bunch. And yeah, this game is a total classic. JRPGs have come a long way since the Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and all those, but for its time, Final Fantasy was the king of JRPGs. And this one, great music, great graphics, good big quest that you're on, storyline. Really, it was fantastic. Like, it doesn't hold up today, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, but I still really like. I'm trying to think of it for the time. Like for the time, I'd give it an A or an S, but like now to me it would be more like a C. So I'm trying to think where I want to place it. I feel like it deserves an A. I feel like I wouldn't be giving it enough credit, especially with the history of it and everything, if I didn't give it anything less than that. So, man, I love JRPGs, and this was the start for me in a lot of ways. Even though it wasn't the first JRPG I played. I think I played it after Final Fantasy III, but it was still Final Fantasy VI here. It's still super solid. All right, next we got Final Fantasy II and III. I got these as part of a bundle with Final Fantasy I, just so I could have them. But I've never played either of them, even in any of the collections, so I got to put them on I haven't played. All right, next up, we got, boom, golf. It's just your basic golf game, swing and hit. I think it was one of their first Nintendo games to come out. It's got Mario as the golfer, at least it looks like Mario. It's actually pretty solid. Not bad, pretty solid. It's fine. It's not bad, it's not good. I'm gonna give it a C. All right, next up, Guardian Legend. I think a lot of people really like this game. It was another one of those games I got from my aunt that I talked about earlier, so I don't really have much to say about it because I don't know if I really played it enough. I think I gave it one shot. I should have given it more. I don't think I even realized there were multiple parts to the game and ways, like things that could happen. So I got to give it I haven't played. I don't think I know it well enough. All right, next up, we got another shooter game for the NES, Hogan's Alley. When I played it, this is another game I believe I got from my aunt. For some reason, my NES gun wasn't working, so I couldn't play it properly. So, sorry, haven't played. All right, Iron Tank. Iron Tank is an over-the-top game where you play as a tank slowly moving up, essentially. And you can free control it. It's not like you're forced to move up, but as you move up, the screen from below, you can't go traverse to anymore. You collect power-ups for your tank. It's similar to a shoot-'em-up type game, but a lot slower in pace as you can kind of explore and do your own thing. And I really like it for that. Honestly, I love this game. I replayed it a lot. There's bosses that you get to. It's fun to get your power-ups, and you can choose when to use them and not to use them. I honestly think this is a fantastic game. I'm giving it an A. Kirby's Adventure. It's a platform game. Kirby's Dream Land was one of my favorite Game Boy games. So Kirby's Adventure, it's like Kirby's Dream Land but better. This was the game. While Kirby's Dream Land is the first Kirby game, this was the game that actually introduced into Kirby where you could eat something, swallow it, and actually get the power of it. And that just opened up the doors. It's a gorgeous visually game. The music's really good. Even though the game's relatively easy, it's still difficult in sections and the final boss. And it is so much fun. And to me, this is definitely an S tier Nintendo game. You probably see that a lot with the official Nintendo releases. They were just so on top of their game. All right, another relatively new one to my collection is Little Nemo the Dream Master. This is another one I used to rent from Blockbuster that I liked a lot. For some reason, I don't think I ever got past level 2, and it's something where I gotta replay it. I'm sure nowadays I could. I like the music a lot. I think it looks great, and I like the idea of the game, which is where you feed different animals, certain animals, candy, and then you kind of combine with them and become them. So you can become like a gorilla, a person riding a gorilla in one case, or sometimes you're inside a lizard thing or fish thing. I really just need to play it more. For whatever reason, when I play it again, I kind of play through the first level and stop. And I don't know why. So like for me, I'm sure a lot of people put this at S or A tier, but I'm honestly, I got to put it at B just for that reason, even though I acknowledge it's a good game. All right, next up, we got Little Ninja Brothers. This is basically like a beat 'em up style game, but overhead. And it's really, if you're playing by yourself, I didn't think it was that good. But when you play with your friend or brother, it was a good amount of fun. I remember solidly enjoying this game, but I don't think I loved it. Just because maybe it deserves a B, but I feel like I keep giving things B, and I need to like give more variety. And I don't know if I liked it as much as the other B tiers, so I'm gonna give this one a C. Solely for that reason. I'm sorry, Little Ninja Brothers. I have a fun story about why I have this game too, but I'll talk about it in a moment. You'll hear why in just a moment. Yeah, in a little bit. Stay tuned for that. All right, next up we got Marble Madness. Marble Madness is a classic. I feel like everyone had this game, or at least played this game. The idea is you are, or you played in the arcade or something. So like the idea is that you are a marble. You control your own marble. It's not like gravity-based like Super Monkey Ball where you're tilting the world around. You control the marble itself. It's pretty slippery, and you're just trying to avoid obstacles and get through the level. Surprisingly fun little game. Short, but definitely fun to play with a friend to challenge and see who could get the furthest. But it's super basic. I mean, for what it is it's good, but I think I'm still going to give this a C. So next up, we got The Legend of Zelda. So apparently, when this was first coming to the States, Nintendo wasn't sure if American audiences would like it, and they weren't sure about bringing it over here because it wasn't very action-packed, and it was a little confusing in the dungeons and everything. I don't know how much I have to say about the original game, but I think it still stands up. I mean, the music is so good. It's really presents that classic feel of exploration. You don't know where to go. You're exploring this world, and there's all these hidden secrets throughout the game, and a lot of it was like, you have to bomb a certain tree, and if you bomb exactly the right tree, you can go down the staircase and get extra rupees, or, hey, how do you get the new sword? And a lot of it's like stuff on the school ground where your friend would tell you, like, oh, I heard if you do this, and show you the way to do it. And, oh, man, you get new items in the dungeons that you have to go through that then allow you to explore more or get to further dungeons. It's pretty open-ended, even though you do need some of those items. You can screw up. You can go to a dungeon that's too late for you. It is just perfect. And I know Adventure was the first example of this kind of game, at least as far as I know, but Zelda is that, but so good. And it's what launched everything. It's what launched, the whole Zelda franchise. Definitely an S tier game. Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. I know I went a little bit out of alphabetical order. I screwed up making my tier list, so it threw me off a little bit. Anyways, basically, when I was a kid, I rented a game from Blockbuster that I really liked. I only rented it like once or twice. And all I remembered was like first you're at this area with like dojos, and then the second area is a cave, and the third area is a waterfall you're going up. And I thought you were a ninja. I thought I remembered that when I was a kid. And I kept on trying to find it throughout my life. And I thought it was called Ninja Kid or something like that. So I bought like all these ninja games, or like would find emulators and ROMs, play all the ninja games. And like if I went to that Blockbuster and they had a ninja game I didn't have on the NES, I was like, I have to buy it. Maybe that's the ninja game I've been looking for. Finally, around 7 or 10 years ago, I realized that ninja was not in the title, and the game I've been looking for all this time was Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. Good job, me. So I wouldn't say it's my, like, replaying it a little bit more recently. And I finally bought the game, by the way, like a month ago. Or like this month. Within the month. Finally have it after all that time. But it's a classic platform game. Side-scrolling game. I wouldn't say it's incredible, but it is a good amount of fun. Especially replaying it recently. I'm like, alright, like a lot of it for me is the nostalgia. It's not Castlevania good. It's not DuckTales good. Oh man, like the fact that I signed this quest as a B, I don't know if... just for what it means to me though, even if it's not the greatest game, it's not bad. Like, don't get me wrong. But just for what it means to me, and how long I've been looking for this game, I have to at least give it a B. So, maybe that's unfair to other games, but Yeah, I'm giving this one a B. All right, here we go. We got my favorite set of games here, my favorite pile. First up, we got Mega Man. Finally, I am such a huge Mega Man fan. So when I was 2, my dad came home with an NES, or around that age. And the first game I ever beat when I was 4 years old was Mega Man II. And I just love this series. That's how you can tell video games connected with me for sure. And Mega Man most of all. There's footage of me when I was a kid playing Mega Man, which I'll put here. And one day my dad came back home after Mega Man 2 because he knew how much I loved Mega Man. And he was like, okay, came back with Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 3. Mega Man 1 was for me, Mega Man 3 is for my older brother. And I was super excited to have the original, but then when I remember and the caveat was we had to share. But I remember thinking oh man, I like Mega Man 3 more. I'm so jealous. But now realizing it's the original as an adult definitely means so much to me. I love this game. I wish I had the box for it. That's super crazy expensive now, but that's okay. So the original, not as good as the others. I'm going to give it an A just because it set the tone for what everything should be. It's still great, but the games would certainly get better. So that's the original Mega Man. Next up, we got Mega Man 2. And this is how you can tell that I love the game. I've got the box, I got the cartridge over there, and I also have the Famicom box for it because I'm such a huge fan of the Mega Man series, or Rockman series. Mega Man 2, I mean, this is one of the best platform games on the NES. To me, you can argue, is it Mario 3, is it Mega Man 2, or is it Mega Man 3? I think those are the tops. So, it's an easy S. I mean, I don't know what else I have to say about it. Easy S. While I love Mega Man 2, it's actually, at this point, at least on the easy mode, I can beat the game without dying once. My favorite Mega Man game, and possibly my favorite NES game, is Mega Man 3. Again, have to have it both in the NES box and the Famicom box because I love this game so much. I don't think I gave enough credit to talking about the game outside of it's an amazing platform game, but the Mega Man series was interesting that it introduced non-linear gameplay to the NES. It was the first time for the original Mega Man you could choose which stage to go to first. Mega Man 2, and then the other element that was interesting was that you beat a boss and you can use their power. I actually don't use their powers that often, and now that I'm better, I actually like trying to beat bosses without using their powers. When I was a kid, I had to use their powers to beat some of the bosses, but it was originally supposed to be a shoot-'em-up game, and they kind of decided to program it slower because of some programming limitations, and it just worked so well. The music in all the games are just so incredible. I still re-listen to remixes, even the original tracks, but a lot of times remixes of the songs to this day. When I go on runs, I listen to them all the time. The stages are fun and interesting. The graphics are fantastic. Keiji Inafune did a great job on the graphics and the art. Mega Man 3 is interesting. That's the first one that Akira Kitamura, who created Mega Man, was not involved in, even though he gave some notes for what he wanted to see in it, like Proto Man and using the robot dog Rush. But this is my favorite. This is an S for sure. All right, next Mega Man 4. Another fun story for number 4. I remember I got the stomach flu when I was a kid, and to be nice, my parents came back while I was in the middle of the stomach flu, throwing up, vomiting, all that, and just to make me feel better, they came back with Mega Man 4 in hand. It definitely made me feel better. Still remember that to this day. And yeah, I mean, this game is the one that introduced the Charge Blast, where you could charge up your blaster for Mega Man. I think it slows down the game, and I know a lot of people, it's not their favorite one, but for me, the story behind how I got it, the introduction of the Charge Blast I thought was cool. And I like the music a lot in this one too. I'm still going to give this one an S, so there you go. Okay, next Mega Man 5. Mega Man 5 is where, for me, the NES game started to go a little downhill. There's basically, to me, with Mega Man, you have two camps. Either you want it to be simple, like Mega Man 2 or 3, like having the slide, or really complicated with a lot of things to collect and go for, which is Mega Man X. When you start to get in between that, I don't think the games tend to be as good, and that's where Mega Man 5 starts to hit. Still a good game, still really fun, but the formula started to get old at this point. Like I said, it's still good, just not the best. So this one's going to be an A for me. And then we have Mega Man 6. I think this is actually the only one that has a bunch of music I don't think is that great. It has a couple tracks I like, but it also has it so you can collect armor for Mega Man. Which was super used in Mega Man X, that idea of collecting armor. It's definitely a fun concept. I like the idea of it. Again, it just slows down the game a lot to me. And I think at this point, it was starting to feel a little overplayed. It was a good idea, but I think Mega Man X executed that a lot better. So, again, it's still good. I'm still going to give it an A. I just don't think it's the best of them. All right, next up, we got Ninja Gaiden. As a kid, I loved ninjas. I think growing up in the 90s, every kid loved ninjas. And Ninja Gaiden had a badass cover. It was also a really good game. Really difficult, too. I did a super show on it, retrospective, where I talked about it. I definitely I like playing the game. I really enjoy replaying it, trying to see how far I can get. Without emulator saves, I've never actually beaten the final boss. I get to him, but I've never beaten him without an emulator, just because, man, it is tough. But I do still really enjoy the game. I wouldn't say to me it's on the level of Mega Man 2 or 3 or Kirby. So given this list, I put it on the A tier. I still like it more than Castlevania 2, but yeah, it's a great game. So that's getting an A tier for me. Sorry if I'm not explaining these well enough. I'm new to this, okay? Next up, we got Ninja Gaiden 2. Ninja Gaiden 2 is like Ninja Gaiden 1. Also, some great music. This time, I think you could climb up and down a little bit more on things, if I remember correctly. There's some new power-ups introduced. The cover is, holy crap, is it a badass cover. I think this is... I like the cover of Ninja Gaiden 1. This cover is, whoa, badass, because it's got a big-ass dragon in the background that's super cool. But, as good as Ninja Gaiden 1, yeah. Is it better? I think it's about the same, honestly, so I'm also putting this as an A. We got Ninja Kid. The game I bought because I thought it was Jackie Chan's action kung fu. I was so excited when I finally got my hands on this. I was like, oh my god, I found it, this was it! Especially because it looks like it has a dojo in the front. I thought I finally found it. Was not the game. I don't remember it being particularly that good either, honestly. Maybe it's okay. I think I remember it being closer to a D. Whoops. That might be the first D. Maybe I'm not remembering well enough. If I'm not and people have fond memories, let me know. I'm sorry. I just remember it not being fantastic. I swear there's other games that are going to get low grades on here. Maybe not. Most of the games I buy are games I love, so... Punch-Out! Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, please. So much better than Mr. Dream. Or just Punch-Out. This was the original Punch-Out. Mr. Dream, which was just called Punch-Out, came out afterwards when they ended their license with Mike Tyson because he went to jail. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, though, it's a classic game of Twitch gameplay type of game where you have to respond to someone. You see them do something, respond to it, try to develop a strategy around them. Graphics look great. For as limited as it was, it looked fantastic. This game ended up, like, everyone at the time, like, it was huge. I think this is the game that made me like boxing. Actually, I like boxing a lot. I've taken boxing classes. I grew up, like, liking to watch Mike Tyson fight and stuff like that. And I think this is why. I honestly think it's because of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I still like replaying the game. It's still fun to test your challenge to it. The game has never grown stale. To me, this is the quintessential NES game. Because sometimes basic is good. It's basic, but it does it extremely well. So for me, this is going to be an S. Next up, I got two of these RC Pro AMs. I love this game. I remember really, really liking RC Pro AM, but, you know, with how the NES is finicky, and it started giving me the flashing green on one of them always, where the screen would always be green, so I couldn't really play it. So then I got another version, and that one did the same thing, so I never really got to play it again, amazingly. The game is a over-the-top racing game. It's pretty basic, but I remember really enjoying it. So here's the thing. I haven't played it recently. I don't have that much of a memory of it because it stopped working and just me being sad that it stopped working because I enjoyed it so much. So I feel like I don't know if it's like a C or a B here, but is it as good as the other Bs? Probably not. So I'm gonna give it a C. Even though maybe I'm wrong. I have fond memories of it, but that's what you get. That's what you get for breaking on me, game. You're getting a C now. You could have been a B. You could have been so much more. Silent Service. Silent Service. I never really figured out how to play it when I was a kid. My dad loved it. My dad was super into the game, as far as I remember. It's like a submarine game. I can't really explain it to you that well because I never really figured it out. I don't know. Maybe it's good. I never figured it out. I tried when I was a kid, and I think I never gave it another chance because for as many times as I tried when I was a kid, I would get bored and stop playing because I never figured it out. Maybe I like it now, but because of that, sorry. Something's got to get an F, right? Maybe for someone it's an A or an S like my dad. Maybe not. If I should give it another chance, let me know. I feel like every time you go to a game convention too, like a classic game convention, you see a million cartridges of Silent Service. It's like everyone had the damn game, and no one particularly seems to want to keep it. Or maybe it's just so common. I don't know. All right, finally we're here. Super Mario Brothers. I really want to get a box for the original one, but it's really weirdly hard to find. But I did get the Famicom one, which means a lot more to me because the original Famicom Super Mario Brothers, come on. Mario Brothers is like, I mean, it's what started platforming gaming. You just look at the history of it. This is what, to me, made Nintendo succeed is Super Mario Brothers. And Miyazaki, and Miyamoto, I said Miyazaki because I'm so used to saying Miyazaki because of Dark Souls. And Miyamoto hasn't stopped making fantastic games since then. Like, he did this, then he did Zelda. Before this, he did Donkey Kong. It's just such a design genius. When I was a kid, I wanted to make video games for a living. I actually majored in game design and computer science, and Miyamoto was my hero. I don't talk about Mario much on my channel, but I love Mario. Super Mario World, in my opinion, is the greatest platform game ever made, and I love platform games. But Mario 1, it's the start of it. I'm going to give it an A. That might be a controversial thought here. I don't like it as much as the other S tiers, but it's got the history. It's still fun to play. But hey, I'm just being honest here about how much I enjoy it. Super Mario Brothers 2, I don't have the cartridge because I don't know where it is. So it seems to be lost or something, which is driving me crazy because we 100% had it. It was my dad's favorite game on the NES, so I know we had it for sure. I don't know where it went. I definitely need to get another copy. Whatever, add to my collection of boxes. But hey, it's great. It's another super awesome NES game. It's super different because originally it was a different game in Japan, and because the actual Mario Brothers 2 they thought was too difficult for American audiences and people wouldn't like it. Instead, they transformed a different game. I'm forgetting the name of it. I think Doki Doki Panic, if I remember correctly. They changed the characters. Everyone knows the story at this point, but they changed the characters, made them Mario characters, and then in Japan they actually made Doki Doki Panic, the American version, with the Mario characters, so they could have it too. And it works. It's really good. It's like totally different than Mario 1 and any other Mario game, but it's still a cool platform game with a different idea. And yeah, I think I'm giving it an A. Sorry, I don't like it as much as the other S tiers. I mean, that could be, but yeah, it's not quite there for me. Mario Brothers 3. This is another one that I felt like I had to have both for the Famicom box and the original. This is actually a really cool cover. It's so simple and clean. It looks great, but look, there's a debate. Everyone knows the debate, right? Mario World or Mario 3, which is the best Mario game of all time? I follow Mario World, but Mario 3 is damn close. Like, this took everything Mario did and improved in every conceivable way. Graphically looks better. Although that's because the NES, they figured out how to do that for the NES. But graphically it looks better. The music, Mario has amazing music. Mario 3 has even more amazing music. Level design, the platforming, the secrets. It is just out of this world fantastic. Knocked it out of the park. So much to explore. It was so much fun. And I think I remember correctly when Mario 3 came out in Japan, if I remember correctly, like, so many people, like, were skipping school and work to get it that they had to make it so, like, a rule where you couldn't release a video game on a work day, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm remembering that story wrong. And you know what? The game was deserving of that. The game is absolutely deserving of that. This stands the test of time. 100%. Easy S tier. Okay, next we got a couple goofy ones I've actually never played, but I bought for fun. This one just because I thought the cover was funny. It was Takeshi something. I don't remember the name of it. I just thought, I was in Japan. I was at the video game store where you could buy old used games. I just liked the cover. I just wanted to have something goofy that was cheap. I think it was like 500 yen or something like that. The other one is Takeshi's Challenge. And some of you may have heard this because of JonTron, and that's how I heard of it. So Takeshi's Challenge, notoriously bad as far as I know. I haven't played it, but like I think JonTron's video on Takeshi's Challenge is, of all those comedic gaming retrospective videos, including the ones that I make, I think that is the best one that has ever been made by anybody, including myself. Like I've rewatched that one. It is so good, and that's why I want to get this game. It's just because I enjoy his video so much. And it just made it stand out so much to me. I got to put them both that I haven't played. I imagine that at least Takeshi's Challenge is probably an F, but I'm being honest here. I'm being honest. I've got the final pile and stack of games, which is so sad. Tiny Toon Adventures. It has been a long time since I played this game. I grew up, I loved Tiny Toons when I was a kid. Even though I wasn't big on Looney Tunes, Tiny Toons I was. There's a surprisingly large amount of good Tiny Toon event games. Like on the Game Boy, there was one that was decent. The Super Nintendo had a really good one. The Sega Genesis, I think, was my favorite one. NES one was also good. Platform games, it's on the NES. Come on, like a lot of games are platform games during the NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era. But it was really well done. I don't think it was incredible, but it was good. I'm giving it a B. All right, next up we got Winter Games. This is another game I think my aunt gifted me or something. I never played it, so sorry, haven't played. All right, finally we got the Uncanny X-Men. Okay, I got a photo I'm going to share with you guys. Of me getting this game when I was a kid. I loved X-Men when I was a kid. Not the Uncanny X-Men. Gambit was my favorite. I liked the show. But I loved X-Men. X-Men was like my favorite, man. 90s kids, every 90s kid loved X-Men. At least 90s boys. And if you didn't, who are you? Come on. I wanted to like this game. I mean, like, this was back in the day when you would get someone a game, you had no idea if it was going to be good or not. That's still true to an extent, but like, you really had no idea unless you'd rented it, which none of us had. And I was excited to get it. I was like, oh, yeah. And man, did I want to like this game. And man, is it not good. It is bad. Now, I've gotten pretty far in the game. I've almost beaten the game by myself, even though I think it's supposed to be a two-player game. Just out of sheer willpower. It's not good. Like, I'm kind of just debating between a D and an F on this one. Like, it has some meaning to me because of getting it. And I'm happy I have it, honestly, because it has a lot of meaning to me, but it is so bad. You know what? Let's give it an F. So there are a lot of games I wish I could have talked about that I didn't have. I actually almost ordered myself Contra recently. It was my birthday last month, and just to give myself a gift, sometimes I order games. Instead of getting Contra, I got something else. Adventure Island was another series I love that I don't have. Like Zelda 2, I played through. I have a lot of games on the Wii Shop for the Wii, for example. Like, I played the Metroid, of course. You know, there's a lot of games that I played that I grew up with, or I played on the Wii Shop, or I rented when I was a kid, or a friend's house, that I really like that, sadly, I just don't own. But this is my collection. This is where I decide to rank things. I think I'm pretty happy with where things are. I know I rated them a lot of them high, but if I was going to buy a game, it's probably a game that I liked a lot, or if I asked for a game, or something like that. And my brothers also had similar tastes, I think. So my dad maybe not so as much, but still, I mean, he liked good games too. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. So let me know if you guys like this kind of video. I know it's completely different, more casual. I think it'll be easier for me to edit too, which is part of why I made it. Just something I can make in between videos where I have to like really write and think about it and edit a lot. Just something fun for me. If you did like it, let me know. I can talk about other collections that I have over the off camera that you can't see, like my Super Nintendo collection, which is much smaller than my Nintendo one, even though my Super Nintendo is my favorite system of all time. Sega Genesis, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Sega Saturn, PlayStation, N64, etc., Xbox, whatever. Like, if you guys like this, let me know, and I'll make more. If not, or I get like 100 unsubscribers from this or something like that, then maybe I'll be like, maybe I'll can this series, honestly. But I had fun doing it. I hope you had fun watching, and I will see you guys in another video. Thanks, guys. Later.